I wanted to take just a few minutes today to talk about something that I think is really overlooked with Stellar Blade, which was one of my games of the year of 2024, which is gameplay. Now you might immediately think, well, Jay, of course people like the gameplay, otherwise the game wouldn't have sold, it wouldn't have done well, people wouldn't be asking for a sequel. And yes, I agree, but something I see constantly ignored when this game is brought up in discussion is its gameplay. I think a lot of people get, I would say, distracted by the window dressing on the game, by its style, by its cosmetics, by its main characters, and they don't actually take time to look at some of the bread and butter of what makes this game so good. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't like those things. Like, I love beautiful women, I love beautiful worlds, I love skimpy clothing just as much as the next guy who likes women. I mean, to be honest, and honestly, my wife Jill, who's not even in this, she loves this game, she adores it. You know, so it's like, this isn't just a game for men. But I do think that a lot of times people on both sides of like loving this style or hating it and just calling it some dumb gooner game on Twitter and kind of freaking out about its existence, I think a lot of times both sides forget to talk about the actual gameplay of the game, which is really strong in my opinion. So this will probably be a shorter video than usual, but I have been playing through Stellar Blade on our Let's Play channel. The link to that is going to be in the top comment and the description as well. So we've been having a fun time over there, podcast style, my wife Jill and I playing through, having a great time. We're doing some of the Nier DLC recently, so hopefully you'll check that out. I'd love to see you over there trying to grow that channel this year. We also have other ways to support this channel, like a Fortnite code and several other channels down below. I do have a question of the day for you, which is genuinely, what is your favorite thing about Stellar Blade? It can be the outfits, it can be the gameplay, it can be the characters, the writing, whatever. You know, I mean, like, a lot of people don't like the writing in this game. They say, oh, it's not good, this and that. I've actually liked a lot of different things in this game, from the writing to the gameplay to the characters, everything. So I'd be interested to hear your opinion on that. Now, I think that there was an absolute benefit in a lot of ways to what Shift Up did with this game and what director Kim Hyung-tae did with this game, which was focusing a lot on making Eve a fun and, I would say, visually appealing character. There's going to be people who look at that and they say, oh, well, no one looks like this in real life, to which point I kind of point towards the models who were inspirations for Eve. But I will say that I like that stuff. And I do think that that stuff did draw a lot of attention to the game. You know, it got people talking about it. It got buzz going. That said, I also feel like there are some negatives that come with that. You know, when it comes to it nowadays, there is really a culture war type thing, especially in Western society, and even more specifically in the United States, when it comes to different ideologies. And a lot of these ideologies, when you get to the extremes, are backwards. No matter what end you get to, they become very hypocritical and backwards. And because of that, they become something where people either idolize and, you know, only look towards this as a positive, or they demonize and only look towards it towards a negative, and they don't actually think about the game. You know, the video game you're playing, the world you're going through, the combat, the controls, the story. They're really just looking at the window dressing, you know? And again, it really does remind me of something like, I don't remember the exact name of the show, but it's a Guy Fieri show. It's like Drive-Ins, Diners, and Dashes or something. I don't know what the exact name is. Jill can put a picture of it. But the idea is kind of similar, where like people will look at the window dressing of certain things. Like they'll look at a restaurant, right? And they'll look at the outside of it, and they'll say, oh, that's not for me. Or, oh, that's going to be amazing. And sometimes you're right. You know, sometimes you can judge a book by its cover, you go in and you experience what you thought you would. But sometimes it also leads to a lot of people missing out. And when it comes to Stellar Blade, I've noticed that that is a constant in online discussion of the game, is missing out on discussion of the game. When you're going through this world and you're fighting Naytibas, which are the general enemies of the game, and you're actually engaging with the combat, it is very tight. There is a tight block and parry system in this game. There is very responsive controls that I think scratch the itch of hack and slash fans. There's so many different RPG elements to the game that I think really incentivize exploration. They incentivize you to actually go out of your way to engage with this world, to engage with these characters. And even now on a subsequent playthrough that I've been doing over on our Let's Play channel, where I've been taking a look at some of the added in content, both from like the Nier DLC, also free updates like photo mode, and even things as well like the New Game Plus outfits, right? there's a lot of window dressing there, and I've used that term a lot, where it's like beautiful, skimpy outfits and just gorgeous lingerie or designs or dresses or whatever. And those things incentivize you to go out of your way to find something in the world, which is part of the gameplay loop. So it kind of dangles it like a carrot in front of the player. But at the same time, there is also an incentivization to go around and complete quests, to go around and read the lore in the world, to experience more of the story. You know, if you play a game like Dark Souls, and I'm not trying to compare these universes too much, you play a game like Dark Souls and you just listen to what NPCs tell you and that's it, you probably don't explore every nook and cranny and find every NPC, you don't do every side quest, you don't read the item descriptions, you're probably going to walk away thinking the story is not very good. But when you actually take time to read those item descriptions, interact with characters, do their side quests, you're going to find the world is a lot deeper than you thought. And that's the same thing I found with the gameplay loop of Stellar Blade. Even now on this subsequent playthrough, I have found that there are dialogues that I might not have heard in my original playthrough, you know, where Adam will say something about the world, or he'll hint at an involvement in the story from a character that I didn't know. Or maybe I will notice a detail that didn't mean anything to me my first time playing through. And that's something that I find very fascinating with games, is where they do a good job of, one, increasing your replay value. Like, you paid money for this game. Is it going to do anything for you after you beat it, or is it just boring now? For me, Stellar Blade isn't that way. It has a very deep New Game Plus system, which I have used not only to collect alternate outfits, but also to get dialogue that I just never heard before. Parts of the story that I might not have heard, this little vanilla or flavor text type dialogue that expanded my understanding of that world. And that's something to me that I think a lot of people overlook, you know, when they're looking at the gameplay loop. I think it's really too bad. I think that, you know, for me, I would rather someone really love the gameplay vibes and the design and be like, oh yes, I absolutely love Eve's beautiful body and her outfits. I love Lily. I love all this stuff. I'd prefer someone falls on that end of the spectrum over refusing to engage with the media because they're upset at sex. That's what I would prefer. But either way, I think you are missing out on a great game with this tight controls, this very interesting world, at least to me, some fascinating characters, and even some mysteries that are just unexplored. I'm not sure if some of these mysteries are dangling plot threads left on purpose, if some of them were cut for time, or if there is no answer to them. And that's something I'd be interested to see in a sequel. I'd also love to make a video maybe talking about some of the unexplored ideas of Stellar Blade that didn't get actually rounded out. You know, there's like a couple side quests that end totally open-ended that I'm still kind of scratching my head on. But overall, it just bums me out when people miss what's right in front of them because of judging a book by its cover. Whether it's positive or negative, when you judge a book by its cover, it's not always wrong, but it's also very, very easy to miss out on some very cool stuff because of it. And I think that really has happened with Stellar Blade, especially over the last year. If you enjoyed this video, you want to leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I would love to hear that, as well as your answer to the question of the day. We have a Fortnite code, DJAY123, helps support all of our channels. Some of our other channels have channel memberships, but we've got Magical Jill, where we talk about a lot of anime and manga stuff. We've got Degenerate Jay, where we talk about all kinds of variety, from superheroes to Sonic the Hedgehog to Metal Gear. And we even have, of course, as well, our Let's Play channel, Degenerate Plays, down there in the description, top comment. Finally, we do have our own store, cosmobunny.shop, where you can get coasters, keychains, trays, and more made from recycled paper. These are from comic books, manga, magazines, pamphlets, more things that have been damaged that we save existing art from. We turn it into new art, new transformative pieces for your home, and we recycle the rest and keep it out of landfill. So I'd love if you check that out, cosmobunny.shop, code DJAY123, 10% off your first order. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui.